Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here. So in my last video, I was talking about ranch rifles and how capacity does in fact matter when it comes to ranch rifles, and just something that a viewer mentioned in a comment to me, and I basically said the guy kind of sounded like a Fudd because he really did. He acted like, oh, you don't need so many rounds for a ranch rifle, blah, blah, blah. And it got me thinking, not everybody necessarily knows what the term FUD means. And in my opinion, the term FUD just refers to somebody who really doesn't believe in the Second Amendment. Like, they say things like, oh, I believe in the Second Amendment and your right to own guns, but yeah, that's a FUD. And so I kind of wanted to show off some guns that I kind of think that are FUD guns and just kind of explain the different levels of FUDness, if you will. Because I do believe that there are, there's more than one type of FUD out there. And we'll basically start at the bottom and work our way up. But Joe Biden, in my opinion, is like the ultimate FUD. Just an old white guy that only thinks that you need a double-barrel shotgun. The shotgun, that's the only thing you need. Just double-barrel shotgun, that's all you need. Just, boom, boom, that's all you need. Well, and double-barrel is a good gun. I like this gun. It's a good, fun gun, but it's definitely not the best gun. But Joe Biden would disagree with that, and I'm sure a lot of his followers and all those other FUDs would disagree with that. So, the very lowest level, the first level of what a FUD is, would basically say that all you need is a single shot or a double barrel or a muzzle loader. This is these are the type of guns they had back in 1776. They couldn't have possibly known that we were going to have these AR-15s and these machine guns, blah, blah, blah. All you need is one shot anyway, right? Yeah. That, in my opinion, is the first level of what a FUD is. And in my opinion, the worst type of gun owner that there is, because they really don't believe in the Second Amendment. They don't really believe in your right to defend yourself. They only think that you might have a gun for intimidation purposes. You're not really going to use it to actually defend your property. You just got to, show it off and people will run away. Or you're only using it to hunt deer and all you really need is one shot. Maybe two shots or even three shots if you're talking about like bird hunting. You have the 3-shot rule, 3-shell rule when it comes to hunting shotguns. But these are basically the only two types of guns that they really believe that you need. So let's move on to the next level of what a FUD is. Alright, so the next level of FUDness is basically those gun owners that only use their guns for hunting, whether that's deer hunting, bird hunting, squirrel, any type of hunting basically. And they're not limiting themselves to 1 or 2 rounds. They do believe that there is a necessity in having multiple rounds, but not a ton of rounds. So, for instance, we have the Ithaca 37 here. This has, I think it's a 28-inch barrel on it, so good, classic, beautiful shotgun. But it does allow for 4 rounds. Now, of course, if you're bird hunting, this one does have a plug in it. It came that way. So if you're bird hunting, pheasants, doves, quail, whatever, you have to be limited to 3 rounds. That's just the law. That's a federal regulation, I believe. And but if you were hunting deer with this, you could take that plug out and you would have 4 + 1 rounds. So, they don't have a problem with multiple rounds. And just like this Marlin 1895, this is a 45-70. This is 6+1, but this is pretty much the most capacity they really believe you need. 4, 5, 6 rounds. That's all you really need. 7 rounds occasionally. But even if they have that capacity, still usually they're only putting a few rounds in anyway. But yeah, they don't believe in, and they don't even necessarily believe in semi-automatics like a Mini 14 or a the Remington 7400, 742, 7. There's so many different models of that gun, different variations. But guns like that, they don't believe in semi-automatics. You kind of think of this as like Australia, and I'm not even sure what the rules are in Australia anymore, or even like Canada now. I think the only thing you can really have in Canada are guns like this. I don't think you can even have a handgun. And a lot of these types of FUDs don't even believe in handguns. They only believe in hunting rifles, deer rifles, and shotguns. Maybe a 22. But typically not like a Ruger 1022. Typically like, maybe a pump action 22 or a lever action or a bolt action or even a single shot. Any type of hunting style 22 or hunting style rifle, shotgun, whatever. This is the second level of FUDness. All right, moving on up the line to level 3. And just because these are the levels that I'm showing off doesn't mean that these are the only levels of FUDness. I mean, they're just all over the board here. But anyway, now we're off to guys who do believe in having some handguns on top of their hunting rifles, etc. And another key difference here is a lot of these older guys, like we had a couple of guys coming through Walmart back when I worked there. They were World War II veterans, and so, they had experience with the Garand and probably the M1 carbine, all those types of guns. And so a lot of those guys probably do have and believe that you should be able to have those old school U.S. military and other, mil-serp rifles and guns like that. This is it's a Lee Enfield, what is it called? It's the Jungle Carbine. I forget what the designation is, but this one's kind of been a little bit sporterized, but basically a gun like this was the easiest gun to get to without having to dig through the safe. But like M1 Garands, maybe an M1 carbine or a 1903 Springfield, or the Lee Enfield 1917. All those types of old school military guns. Some of them are semi-auto, some are bolt action, some are pump action shotguns. But there's guys that do believe in stuff like that, and also other guns, whether they be lever action, bolt action, even some semi-autos like a Ruger Mini 14. They do believe in guns like that, guns that are not scary and do have somewhat adequate capacity. Like this Henry Big Boy here has 10+1 rounds. And like the Mini 14, Mini 30, you can get those with 5 and 10 round magazines, even up to 20 rounds, but they're not, they don't look so menacing like, the AR-15, that evil AR-15, that evil AK-47. They don't believe you should have those guns, but, a Mini 14 or a Remington 7400, something like that doesn't look scary, but it still has the same or similar capabilities as those scary-looking rifles. And like I said, handguns now, typically they like, guns like revolvers, like this Ruger Security 6, 357 Magnum, 6 rounds of that. This is a Taurus Gaucho 45 Colt, single action army clone. So, just 6 rounds of 45 Colt. Or even some old school, now this one's a pretty new one, but old school design pistols like a 1911. This is a Ruger SR 1911, but like the Colts and the old Ithacas and Remingtons, from like World War II, World War I era 1911s, and even maybe some old, some other old military pistols like the Walther P38, or even like the Beretta 92. Guns like that, they might be okay with. But not necessarily like the newer pistols with more capacity and, the plastic. A lot of them don't like the plastic grips and the plastic frames and stuff. Yeah, I know those Taurus Gauchos got the plastic grips. I really wish they had wood, but that's just what I had handy. But yeah, this is, in my opinion, level 3. And now let's go into level 4, which I think is the most interesting, and I think a lot of people these days actually do fall into this category. All right, on to level 4. And I do truly believe that there are a lot of people out there these days in the gun community that fall into this category. And that's basically anybody who is okay with giving certain rights away. In other words, they have all the guns that they need. They like the AR-15s and the AK-47s, and they have a bunch of their own, but they're not willing to stand up and fight for everybody else's gun rights because they have what they want and what they need, and they don't care if anybody else, if other people haven't gotten their guns that they want and or need. And they're also just willing to give things away to trade off for other things. Like the biggest example that I can think of is with the whole bump stock ban. And I saw a lot of people, this is back when Trump was in office, and a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you can take those bump stocks, but give us something in return. Give us that Hearing Protection Act, which, by the way, I don't even think went anywhere. I don't personally have any suppressors, so I don't really follow that. But basically, people who are saying, oh yeah, you can take this portion of the Second Amendment, but let me keep this portion because this is what pertains to me. I don't care about what's over here. I only care about what's over here. And I'm not going to stand up for anything over there because it doesn't affect me. Those are the type of people that fall in Fuddness category number 4. And I just feel like there's a lot of people out there. And these are also like the same people who they'll have AR-15s, and I kind of fall into this category, but only when it pertains to myself, not when it pertains to other people. In other words, they believe in AR-15s, but why do you need a light? Why do you need a laser? Why do you need a red dot? Why do you need this? Why do you need that? Why do you need a foregrip? All these different things. Why do you need that? Why do you need that? It's perfect the way it is. And I do kind of agree that I personally do think this gun is perfect the way it is. But a lot of other people don't feel that it's perfect the way it is. They like modifying it and putting different things on it. And personally, that's okay. That's their money. That's what they like to do. So why shouldn't they be able to do it? But other people don't necessarily believe in that. And that's why I think what the 94 assault weapons ban, why there was the whole, 2 features. If a gun has at least 2 features, then it's considered an assault weapon. So if it has, this and this, then it's an assault weapon, blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, I do believe that there are a lot of people in Fudd category 4, at least, what I'm talking about in this video. I do believe there is a lot of people out there like that. We're kind of, the first couple categories, they're kind of dying off. Those are kind of like the old, 80-something-year-old men and women from, the World War II and Vietnam, Korean War, those eras. And a lot of those people are kind of dying off, and now you're kind of getting more people like this, where it's okay to have this, but not that, and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of evolving over time. So anyway, those are the guns that I wanted to show off for this video, and that's all I have to say about the whole, what is a Fudd gun and what kind of people are Fuds. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, before I go, I just thought I'd remind everybody that I do have a second channel called Redneck Off the Range. Over there, I post most of my non-gun related content, so whether it's a video on my new tractor, my power tools, my projects that I'm working on, maybe wild game recipes, or just a random vlog, I post all of this kind of content over on my secondary channel. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check it out, Redneck Off the Range. But that's all for this video, so subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.